What a day. You know, I've always said I love live TV. We don't use teleprompters, we don't use scripts, we don't use anything except flying by the seat of our pants. Now, flying by the seat of our pants today may include somebody falling through the roof.
It feels like the whole roof's going to come down.
We have a crew on top of the roof working on the roof today. I don't know that maybe we shouldn't have said, you know, we do live TV from 9 to 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Maybe schedule the roof repair after 10 a.m. So if you hear all this noise above our head, it's going to be going through our minds and it's going to be probably deprogramming us. But today, we're taking the program back, way back, to a day where you would have walked in Snappy Lunch and you would have ordered yourself a pork chop sandwich and you would have sat down and somebody come in and patted you on the back and said, "Hey, Andy, how you doing?" I am thrilled to know that my whole crew watches the Andy Griffith Show.
They've watched it way more than me, but yeah, most of us have, yeah.
That means that your family raised you right, because I have decided, after all the analyzation and all the crazy things happening in the world today, the reason the world is so messed up is because Aunt B went to the house, Andy retired, and Don Knotts went back to comedy. All I can say is once people quit living the life of Mayberry, the world went to the devil in a handbasket.
Yep.
And, you know, we think about it. I was thinking about you on the way up here today because you are the generation, thankful to God, you have not lost your grandparents yet.
Yeah.
They were a great influence in your family. Your parents are a great influence in your family. When we look at people that are all messed up and totally confused, and God love them, have nobody leading them to where they ought to be, you look at the parents, you look at the grandparents, that influence creates a great America.
Yeah.
And so today, I just said, let's pull out the Andy Griffith stuff we've done and let's talk about the world would be a better place if we all went back to Mayberry. You know, Ellijay used to be a little bit like Mayberry, a lot like Mayberry, and we had, Lord help us, we had Mr. Ellijay was the police officer, and Slim was the police chief, and it was like old timey. It was old timey, and it was so cool. We need to go back to those days. You know, it's great that we have technology. But we need for everybody to come in and say, "Hey, y'all, how you doing today? How's your mom and them?" Everybody says that.
Yeah.
You know, so we just need to go back to those qualities. Now, when we look at the qualities of then in church, supporting local families, doing benefits for everybody, we still do a lot of that in the towns that we serve. We still do a lot of that. But if you go outside our realm of from Ball Ground to Turtletown, not so much. You know, you can live 3 doors down from somebody and the husband pass away, and 2 years later you see the house on the market and you say, "Oh, are they moving?" Well, no, he died 2 years ago and she's moving to a nursing home. People don't take care of their neighbors anymore.
Yeah.
Now, in Mayberry, they took care of neighbors.
Yeah.
They took care of neighbors.
They did.
And everybody knew everything Opie ever got into because people pay attention. So if your kid got out of line, you call Andy and say, "Hey, Opie did so-and-so." Opie couldn't get by with anything. Maybe we need to go back to that. Did your parents keep a tight strain on you? Were you...
I mean...
Or did they just trust that you knew right from wrong?
I wouldn't necessarily say that they were strict in any way or had a strain on me in any way. I just kind of learned that, you know, there's a way to do things and there's not a way to do things. And I was always the kid that never wanted to get in trouble for anything. And I panic attacked and cried, and if I did, so you know, I do that now? Obviously not, but I did that back then, and,
that's funny.
And I never wanted to get in trouble ever, so that was kind of just my experience with all that. But yeah, I just kind of learned from really using common sense and from my parents and grandparents.
I think common sense is something that's missing in the world today. It's just missing. It is just missing. And so I watched a little special yesterday about Snappy Lunch, and it was a long special, and I thought, well, we'll share that with everybody today. I said, no. So I pulled a short one that shows how they make this pork chop sandwich. I love tenderloin sandwiches. I love tenderloin biscuits. So I would do a pork chop sandwich like that. But when I saw the ingredients they put on it, I was going, oh, I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that. Oh, okay. The sandwich must be fantastic because they've sold thousands and thousands of them. The Snappy Lunch has been open, I believe they told me on this thing yesterday, it was like 100 years, really way back then, way back then. And I'm thinking about this. It is so crazy to me that I remember as an 8-year-old child walking in Mount Vernon Baptist Church for the first funeral I remember. It seems like yesterday. Does it seem like you were in kindergarten yesterday?
Yeah.
It is so weird.
Feels like yesterday for a lot of different things for me. So. Yeah,
and do you remember the first day going to school and you didn't want to leave your mom?
I remember pre-K pretty vividly. My mom paraproed there for a while, or she was assistant teaching there, and I would see her and I'd be like, Mom, I want to come with you.
I love it. That is so sweet. That's what we need back in America. We need, and I think it's great if you choose to be a teacher and you're a good teacher and you teach. I had amazing teachers. Miss Maisel Kemp, Coach Chadwick, he was amazing. Had one literature teacher that I wasn't sure about her. She was very stern and very, but I learned so much from her. So I had such great respect for teachers. Now, a lot of people are homeschooling their kids. I've sold houses to people who said, well, we have to have a classroom because we're going to homeschool our children. Yeah. I salute anybody who can do that because you talk about hard to handle. It's like mom cutting grass, doing this, and teaching your kids and making sure you keep them all in line. So it's amazing. But we're going to go back to Mayberry. But today we're going to show you some photos that might make you think you're in Mayberry, but you're really in Ball Ground, Georgia. And this is, we call them the Bells of Ball Ground. They could have been Aunt Bee and Clara on Mayberry because Miss Paula and Miss Jenny are the Bells of Ball Ground. And they are the ladies who have the tea parties, invite everybody to the baby showers. They attend the church recitals, receptions, plays. They do everything about the community, and that's what we're missing in so many communities. We need our Aunt Bee and our Clara, and I'll just say, I don't know if Jenny would be Clara and maybe Miss Paula would be Aunt Bee. I don't know. I can't see Paula canning and making those awful pickles that Andy had to eat, but we need to go back to the ways and the days of respect and trust and doing what we should. Do you think the people that are watching us can hear all that racket up there?
Yes.
So if y'all are hearing all that racket, I know you're thinking, why are y'all doing a live show right now? Well, it's because somebody did the scheduling wrong and should have told that man on the roof that we're in here doing live TV. So it's going to be a funny day. But now there is our ladies. There's our Bells of Ball Ground, and I'm the youngest Belle. I'm not much younger, but I'm the youngest Belle. And this is in a beautiful historic home in Ball Ground where my grandmother's best friend lived as I was a kid. And the first time I went there, I said, oh my gosh, I wish I lived here. I still today absolutely love this house. And the Hubbard girls, as Granny called them, who were in their 90s, she loved going there to visit. They'd been friends since they were little bitty kids, and it's still a beautiful, beautiful home. So there are places that you can go back to the days of Mayberry. And Ball Ground used to be one of those until we grew super, super fast. And now I'm afraid we're losing a little bit of that Mayberry feel. And Ellijay did the same thing. Now there, I love that. Is that not cool? Miss Paula is the card, and Miss Jenny is the very reserved, very proper, very everything. And Miss Paula's an artist, and you can tell it. You can tell it.
Yeah.
You can tell it. Miss Paula is something else. So love, love, love those dear ladies. And how in the world we need to have more of the Bells of Ball Ground. We need to have more of those ladies in the world making an influence on everybody's life. So to them, thank you for being what you are to the town that we serve, from Ball Ground to Turtle Town. Now I love that screen door. I just love that screen door. I think that is the coolest thing, and I can remember as a kid going there, and they didn't have all that big deck. It was just a dirt backyard. It was totally different, but isn't that stunning? So pretty. And yeah, you would expect Aunt Bee to come off the porch and say, "Oh, come on in. Opie's waiting. Supper's ready."
Looks like Gone with the Wind.
It looks like Gone with the Wind,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Okay, this weekend, Ball Ground is going to be rocking, and there's a free festival Saturday, October the 4th, downtown Ball Ground, music, fun, and food. And at the same time, the Georgia Marble Festival will be going on, and it will be Saturday and Sunday. It is always the first October week. So the Marble Festival has the tours of the marble quarries. It has all kinds of crafts and vendors. And get out and become a part of. You can start in Ball Ground and end up going to Jasper. And after you go to Jasper, you can go on up to Talking Rock and go in that little train and eat you a really cool hamburger. There's so many things going on in our community. And we want you to get out and get to know the local businesses. Go learn about the local businesses. We've got Mike's here. We've got the Double L. We've got so many restaurants here that are local families, local folks, often generational folks. Get out and get to know those people. And go in there and say, "Hey, y'all," and they'll think you're from here, even if you're not. So, yeah. Now, we're going to share some footage of, do we want to do Snappy Lunch first?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay, this is that pork chop sandwich. When I saw how they did it, I said, I did not see that coming. Because when I make a pork chop sandwich, I just roll it in flour and salt and pepper. They actually do it in a batter. So watch closely and see if you can duplicate the very famous pork chop sandwich from the Snappy Lunch in Mayberry, North Carolina.
I'm Morgan Murphy. I have traveled 10,000 miles this summer to find the very best food in the South. Come along with me as I show you the South's best restaurants off the eaten path. I'm Morgan Murphy. Today we're in hot pursuit of the best lunch in Mount Airy, North Carolina, better known to TV fans as Mayberry. There's a place called Snappy Lunch here, which was one of the first places mentioned on the Andy Griffith Show, and they serve a pork chop sandwich that is to die for. So let's get into high gear, go over there and grab us one of those. I'm here at Snappy Lunch in Mount Airy, North Carolina with Mary Dowell, the owner's wife. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming.
I'm so excited to try the pork chop sandwich. Tell me about how that sandwich came to be.
Charles, actually the owner of the cafe, he invented the pork chop sandwich. I think it was sometime in the 60s maybe. And he told me that he had seen pork chop sandwiches other places or something, and he tried one, and it had a bone. Initially, it had a bone in it, and it was so hard to eat that he didn't think it would go over. And then he developed a way to take the bone out. He used a pork tenderloin.
And why is it called Snappy Lunch?
Charles said because when they started, they would come in and say, "I want something to eat. I want to make it snappy." And so hence the name.
Make it snappy.
Make it snap fast.
Well, I'll have a pork chop sandwich. Make it snappy.
Right, there you go.
Let's go see how we do that.
Okay.
I am here in the kitchen at Snappy Lunch with the master of the pork chop sandwich, George. And what's this, George?
That's a hat.
This is my hat.
Yeah, you
Is
gotta
this required wearing for back in your kitchen?
Yeah, you have to
Okay.
wear a hat.
So this is my Snappy Lunch hat. Pretty sexy, I think. We start with one of these.
We start with
This is
our
a big
pork
pork tenderloin. And how big do you slice a pork tenderloin?
bone. Basically 3.5 ounces. The pork chop goes into the batter.
So you just put the pork chop on the grill and you let it harden on one side and you grill it until it hardens on the other side and finish it off in the pan. I love pork chops. Bring on the tour buses. So Diane, you're going to show me how to make assemble the pork chop sandwich.
Heat the bun up. Put your chop on here. Chili.
Onions and slaw.
Small.
This is a tiny
Mustard.
sandwich, isn't it?
Tomato.
And it is a beaut. It's only probably got about 5,000 calories, and I can't wait to have every one of them. That is sweet and tender and kind of crunchy at the same time. This is a messy sandwich, man. I'm glad I'm wearing an apron and my special sanitary hat. Man, that pork chop sandwich was outstanding. If you want to know how to make it yourself, pick up a copy of my book, Off the Eaten Path. And you know, right now, I'm gonna go look for Checkpoint Chickie.
Okay, I would try that sandwich. You would not touch it
No.
with a 10-foot pole,
No.
would you? I can tell
Absolutely
Trace
not.
is going, yuck.
No.
Okay, I like onions, I like tomato, I like chili, I like mustard, but my way to make a pork chop sandwich would be mayonnaise on one side of the bread and a little bit of mustard on the other side of the bread, and then the meat, and then salt and pepper, and I might put lettuce and tomato on it. But evidently it works, because for many, many years people have stood in line to eat the pork chop sandwich.
I don't think they want you to tell everybody.
I don't think they want anybody to tell. Y'all, this is getting crazy. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to an interview that I did with Thelma Lou, Miss Betty Lynn, who was Thelma Lou on the Andy Griffith Show. And so that's going to get us away from this crazy noise over our heads. The one great thing about live TV is what you see is what you get. This is not what we wanted today. So here we go to a little bit of a visit with Betty Lynn in Mayberry, North Carolina. It's actually Mount Airy, North Carolina. Here we go.
Welcome back. We are once again in the Andrew Griffith Museum, and I'm so honored. Wish Barney could be here with us, because I know Barney was so proud of you. Thelma Lou, also known as Miss Betty Lynn, is here with us today.
Well, that's sweet.
This museum is so cool and
Isn't
so
it
much
great?
memorabilia, and there is a portrait of you out there that is drop dead
I know.
gorgeous.
Well, you know, the young man
Wow.
that did that, when I first saw it and they presented it, I thought it was an enlarged picture.
Yes.
But that's a painting.
Oh,
I
my
was
gosh.
just astounded.
It is
but
beautiful.
yeah, isn't it though? I mean,
It's gorgeous.
well, I've had the best time here in Mount Airy anybody could have, because all the people are so sweet to me, and the people come from all over like you have.
Right.
They come from all over, and they all stand in line, and I sign autographs on pictures for them and get their name right and
Right.
anything they want me to write on it and everything. And I'll say, where are you from? Oh, they're from Alaska.
Oh, yeah.
Or they're from Idaho or Ohio or
Right.
Tennessee or Georgia or Kentucky.
Yeah.
And they go on and on. And of course, we have people from North Carolina and South Carolina,
Right.
Florida. I mean, it's just everywhere. And it
How did you
amazes
end
me.
up back in Mount Airy? Because there was a time period you were in California, weren't
Well,
you?
I lived there over 50 years.
Right,
Yeah, quite a
right.
time period. Well, my home had been robbed twice, and I had been robbed in a department store and once on the street, but
Wow.
never in my home. And so I thought it was time to leave. I just thought, well, I can't take this anymore. I was frightened, and I was afraid to go back in the house. So I was staying in a hotel, and they said here they'd like for me to come here. I'd been honored as a Missourian in Marshfield, Missouri, and they wanted me to go there. And then I have relatives still in Kansas City, Missouri, my hometown where I grew up, and friends that I went to school with and all. And I had thought about that. And then I thought, well, and I have relatives in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they wanted me to come there. Everybody was very sweet, offering, you know, you could get a house here and you could do
Right.
this and that, and we could look after you. Well, I don't want the feeling that they'd look after me. I
You're
thought,
pretty independent.
well,
aren't
yeah,
you?
it's kind of
Yeah.
hard
Yeah.
to suddenly feel like, and they mean the best in the world, but eventually I know they'd get tired of it. They'd be saying, I don't want to call her. I don't want to take her to the store today. I don't feel like it or something. I could just imagine, you know. I thought, I think it's better for everybody if I just go someplace where I have no relatives, you know. Well, Tanya Jones, who did all this, she is the head
She
of the
is the
Arts
curator,
Council.
is
She
that-
is, well, she's the one that saw this built. She was instigator behind the whole thing.
Right.
She's the one that did all of the Mayberry, bringing them in and everything, all the people. She is an amazing woman.
I think
And
Freddie talked to her yesterday.
Oh, I'm sure.
And that's how we got to talk to
well,
you today.
Tanya, right.
Yeah,
Tanya is really a miracle woman because she gives her whole life to something. And she said she always was that way, whatever she did. And she does. She just, she would be from morning till night. And she has the sweetest husband, thank God. He's so good and sweet. And he's a great photographer, so he's busy doing pictures and everything. Well, they get along so well, and she has her children, grown-up children, but they all live in other places now. And she has grandchildren now for the first time. So she is now taking a little time to go see her babies, you know, which is great. But other than that, she has devoted so much of her life to this, and it's been great for everybody. And they would bring people in for Mayberry Days, which they did with me. At
Now
first,
that was, Mayberry Days is October
the last
3rd.
part of September.
Okay.
Yeah, last week in
Okay.
weekend. And so I had received letters, and I didn't know what it was. I thought, I don't know what this is. I put them aside, never bothered. Finally, Maggie Peterson Mancuso, who played Charlene Darling on it, she said, well, I go and it's fun. You ought to go sometime, Betty. So I thought, well, maybe I will. So I came, and I enjoyed it. I really did. And I was in the parade and everything,
I think I saw a picture of you in the parade. Yeah.
And so I had a good time. And so, and everybody was sweet. So I started coming just on Mayberry Days. And then Tanya said, why don't you come back here? Because there's a retirement place I'm in. And they'd put me in that because I'd had a cold when I was here for Mayberry Days last. I thought it was a cold. It might have been this allergy I'm suffering with. If they'd told me about the allergies in North Carolina, I doubt if I'd be here.
Might not have
Oh, no, I tell you, I fight them. However, so she said, well, you could come, and I just rent. So it wasn't like I was putting down roots forever or something. And I thought, well, okay, I'll try that. Well, I've enjoyed it so, and it's such a pretty town.
It is.
Mount Airy is really beautiful, I think.
And
And
how
lovely
many years
people.
have you been here?
It'll be 5 in January.
Okay.
Can't believe it, you know.
So it's home.
I
It's
know,
home
yeah,
now.
yeah. And but I've just had a good time, and people are just so good to me that it's almost. I mean, I don't feel worthy.
Do you know what they
truly.
told us about you before you got here?
What?
They said she's really as nice as you imagined she would be.
Well,
because
what a sweet
Thelma Lou
thing.
was so nice.
Yes, I like Thelma
And
Lou.
I think Thelma
I
Lou's
did.
character really was you.
A lot of me in
Yeah.
that. I'd say more than most things I'd ever done.
Well,
yeah.
let me ask you something. You had a career before Andy Griffith's
Oh yeah, I did
program.
movies
Yeah.
and television.
Tell us a little
Yeah,
bit
sure.
about some of the movies you were in.
Oh gosh, that's hard to do. There are quite a few.
I saw a clip of one that
Yeah.
had, was it Robert Young? You
Robert
know?
Young. That was my first
He
movie.
was a handsome. He
oh
was a
yeah.
hottie.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
He was
Oh, yeah.
very well. That was my first movie. First
Wow.
time in front of a camera. 20th Century. I had done a show on Broadway and got noticed by that, and so the studios were interested in me, and my agents chose 20th Century Fox. So then, when they decided finally to sign me, they brought me out, and I was underage, so they let me pick my mother up in Kansas City because she had to sign all the papers. So out we came, and the first movie I was in was Sitting Pretty, and it's a funny. It was the first Mr. Belvedere with Clifton
wow.
Webb, and he was great in that. But Robert Young, my first time, they came and checked to be. I was in wardrobe and everything. It was a Bobby Soxer, and they came and checked to be sure I knew my lines. The man was a script man. He just read the other parts, and well, you're fine. He goes away, and then they called me in, and they had a mock-up auto that was open, and here's Robert Young sitting in it next, like I am to you. And so, and me sitting next to him. And then the director said, all right, let's run this once. So we did, and he said, all right, let's try it. So they shot it. And then finally he said, have you two met? And I'd been going, hi, and flirting with him and everything.
I saw that clip, yeah.
Anyway, we met finally, and he was very pleasant, very nice man. So that was my first experience in front of a movie, and I was shocked. You don't have all the rehearsal time you would for theater or anything. I couldn't believe it, but I guess that's the
you
way
were
they
a
made
natural.
them.
You were a natural, obviously.
Yeah, I got along, thank God, all right. And I did movies. I was on loan out to Warner's with Betty Davis and June Bride and Robert Montgomery in it,
Wow.
and then
Betty
later,
Davis, an
yeah,
idol?
oh yeah, oh she was terrific to work with.
Did you respect her?
Oh, you bet.
Yes.
And I also got to know her. She was really a fascinating woman, anyway. But she was terrific, very professional, and really great to work with. And I had a character name of Boo, so they'd call Betty on the set, and we'd both run in. So she said, "Do you mind if we call you the character name?" I said, "I don't care what you call me, Miss Davis. You call me anything." So yeah, so they called me Boo from then on. So from then on, I was Boo Lynn. She would introduce me to people. "This is Boo Lynn," she'd say. It was funny. Yeah, it was. It was funny. And in fact, after my mother died, my Aunt Loretta stayed with me about 4.5 months afterward. And she was on the phone one day, and I heard her saying, who? And pretty soon, who? And I thought, I go over, I said, let me have it. Took the phone, and it was Betty on the phone, and Betty was saying, boo, and my aunt was saying, who? And my aunt didn't know that people called me boo. I mean, she'd never heard it. It was so funny.
Wow.
I had a good laugh.
You know,
Betty didn't think it was too funny.
you are part of television history, 50 years running.
Yeah, imagine that.
When you started, tell me how old you were the first day on the set of the Andy Griffith
I must have
Show.
been about 30.
30.
Yeah.
Okay, I guessed you were in your 20s. So.
Well, that was nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I think I was about 30. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And the characters were on set with you. Aunt B, she's gone.
Oh, yeah.
Barney?
I loved her.
He's gone.
But I know it's hard. You know, I
Yeah.
went to so many funerals. I finally said, Jim Clark, that started the Andy Griffith Rerun Watchers Society. It's a mouthful, you know. But he's such a wonderful young man. And I finally, he'd call me and say, I don't know, but it might be that so-and-so died. Would you check and find? So it was hard. You know, I finally said, you're going to have to get a younger person to do this. It's hard to call people up and say, well, there's a funeral, and, you know, and try. And some people in Hollywood, they don't go to funerals. They're not about to. Well, it's not that simple. And I finally said, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
You'll just have to, you know, I went to all of them, but I think back over it, it makes me sad to think there's so many of them I really enjoyed being with. Ernest T. Bass, his son came a couple of times, and I hope sometime will come again, but for Mayberry days. But Howard Morris was a wonderful character actor. He did, and he directed some of the shows too on the Andy Griffith Show. But he was fun to be with. And then I missed everybody. Anita Corso, who played Helen Crump.
She was so beautiful.
She was gorgeous,
Yeah.
beautiful eyes, beautiful girl.
Now, why did she pass away?
Breast cancer.
Wow. Wow.
And
wow.
I felt, you know, you just can't do anything. You wish you could save people. And with my own family, I had my grandparents with me, my Aunt Mary and my Uncle Ralph. All of them died with cancer, except my grandmother, who had a heart condition. But you know, I felt terrible. I kept trying to save their lives, but there's nothing you can do at a point.
You can't do it.
No.
Well, you're saving a part of television history just by being here, and the museum is open. They told me 6 days a week, all day long,
Oh,
and then
people
part of
come
a day
all
on
the time.
Sunday. Yeah.
They come all the time from everywhere. I come once. This was an exception today, but I come usually on the third Friday of the month, and I guess I could come anytime I wanted, really.
Right.
But I think that's about enough, maybe. I mean, although some people, they send notes saying, I came there and you weren't
You
there.
weren't there.
Yeah,
Where
they were
were
all,
you?
yeah, I
Where
know.
were you?
But I don't know if I have the strength now to, because it takes a little energy to talk to people and
Right.
visit with them and everything. And I
And you
do
want to
love
give
it.
them all you can.
I do.
Yeah.
And I tell them, if my mind, I think, is something that happened or about the show or something they say jogs my memory, well, then I go ahead and talk about it, you know. So in a sense, it's not just sitting there like writing and doing nothing, no. So, but I'd enjoy it. I really do. And this is such a great museum. Don't you think it's
Beautiful.
impressive?
It is
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
I love the town. Now I could
isn't
come
it
here
beautiful?
and spend 3 or 4 days.
Oh, I know.
We
You
went to
should.
Wally's service station.
Oh, yeah.
And we went to the old jail.
Oh,
and we
yeah,
saw
right, that one.
Otis's, his cell. I love that.
I know.
And we rode through. It really saddened me because I wish that it had been filmed here because the town is so beautiful.
Oh, it is beautiful.
The town is beautiful.
Well, it had to be in
Yeah.
Hollywood. That's like most things. It'd be nice.
Right.
I used to hope someday I'd get a movie that went to Europe. We never did.
Yeah.
No, that would have been fun too. But Mount Airy.
Whether you're in the mood for chicken strips, a delicious burger, our classic banana split, or an upside-down thick blizzard treat, we've got you covered. Hot and fresh food every day, every time, and delicious DQ soft serve make the perfect pair at your favorite place. Not fast food, fan food fast. Your Blue Ridge, Ellijay, and Jasper Dairy Queens are your meet, eat, and treat headquarters.
Thank you for choosing DQ. How may I serve you?
If you or your business are looking for local advertising opportunities, we have sponsorships available for new programming coming soon on ETC3. Contact us at 706-697-5591.
Y'all come by and see us anytime you can.
Whether you're swimming in the sea or splashing in the pool, making a masterpiece, or just making memories, writing a great American novel, or writing your term paper that's due tomorrow. Whatever you do in life, Farmers is here to protect it. For all your insurance needs, call Donald Curtis in Blue Ridge.
Through the magic of television, it's quiet now. It's quiet now. Because we took that break and we let y'all watch a little bit of Betty Lynn so I could go calm things down. And then they can get back on the roof when we get off the air. Because it was a little bit weird because we knew that y'all couldn't hear us and we might as well have been sitting here talking to the table. So I guess we better plan things a little better now. Have people come do repairs after we do the show, but it was kind of embarrassing. It was kind of loud, and all we can do is apologize. And if you wear a hearing aid and it made your hearing aid go crazy, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
They just didn't want you to tell the recipe about.
They didn't want me to tell the
your
recipe about
sandwich.
snappy lunch. That's right. But let me tell you, if you missed it because it was very loud, it is a pork tenderloin battered in a pancake batter that they don't give you the ingredients. They said they're the magic ingredients. I don't know what's in it, other than I did hear egg and milk and something and a little bit of sugar. And then they dip it in there and they grill it, and then they put it in a pan and they kind of cook it a little bit in the pan. I don't know who came up with that batter, but it's kind of interesting. So, yeah, I do want to go to Snappy Lunch now. I've been to Mount Airy, North Carolina, a beautiful, beautiful town, and I looked yesterday, and I thought I'd like to go back up there until I realized it's a 5-hour and 20-minute drive. I don't know if I want to go that bad, but it's really cool. And they do have Mayberry Days where they have a parade and they have characters who come dressed as all the individuals from the thing. The other day I was watching the parade and I said, who are those ladies? Well, it was the women from prison. Do you remember when the prison, you didn't see it, but the women escaped from the prison and took Andy and Barney hostage, and that was hysterical.
That sounds funny.
And so in the parade there were the women prisoners, and they did not quite look as mean and gruff as the prisoners really looked. So, but it's a great trip, and if you're planning something for the fall and you don't want to go south to Florida and you would love to go into North Carolina, check out Mount Airy and make sure you go on a day that the Snappy Lunch is open, because when we went, the Snappy Lunch wasn't open. We did get to tour the jail and go over to the, I think we went by the barber shop and went to the gas station to Goober's. What did Goober say? Golly, how to remember every word, because
What a name.
we watch it over and over and over. Yeah.
What a name.
Goober and Gomer. So, yeah. But it is what's wrong with America today. We lost Mayberry. We need to bring Mayberry back. If you have a small town and you can save it, maybe now's the time to start working on saving it. And don't let everything go totally different and totally liberal and crazy and not like you wanted it. Keep it like Mayberry. And it's crazy because Aunt B reminds me of several of my grandmother's sisters, but none of them were as sweet and kind as Aunt B. Some of them had pitched temper fits, and I've seen them all, a little bit ornery, a little bit angry, a little bit, if something didn't go just right. But we all need those influences in our life, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our great aunts. I learned so much about canning and cooking from my great aunts, and I'm so thankful to them. And if you don't take time to spend time with the people like that, then you're missing out on life. You're missing out on life. We're going to go back now to a little bit more of the Betty Lynn. Now, do your grandparents watch it when it comes on now? Often still?
I know they watch a lot of, I think they watch that, and they watch Gunsmoke. And my Papa watches a lot of Western.
Well, I love Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah,
I love Little House on the Prairie. That's one of my favorites.
My parents watch that.
I still love it, and I'm still glad it's on. I was lucky enough to meet Michael Landon when I was about 13 years old.
Lucky.
And it was so cool because I was just standing there. It was when he was on Bonanza. And I got to meet him. I got to see Marty Robbins in person that day, and it was just a really, really cool day in Orlando, Florida, and I was just a kid. But I remember it like it was yesterday, and I can remember standing there. They were on a stage, and we were going to walk up the steps to the stage to get to meet them. And I was standing there, and when you said you would get nervous and upset when things happen, I was standing there, my knees were knocking, because I was going to walk up there and meet Michael Landon, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. But it's so weird how we look back at life and the moments that we remember something tragic. Now, we've gone 3 weeks since Charlie Kirk's loss.
Mm-hmm.
We have seen great things happen in America.
Yeah.
We have seen 50,000 Republican voters register in the state of California, which is just pretty awesome. We have also seen one of the candidates drop out in New York because they're trying to give the conservative an edge, which he's going to need, because we could put a socialist/communist in as the mayor of New York City.
Yeah, Zoran.
One of the greatest cities in our country. We could put a socialist in charge of that. That scares me to death. So if you watch the Mayberry shows and you watch the interview I did with Thelma Lynn and you love the way America used to be, maybe it's time we slammed on the brakes and we started once again electing conservatives, getting back to church, taking your kids to church, doing the things that we need to be doing to slam the brakes on going crazy in America. So, and I think that since then we had the shooting and the burning of the church on Sunday.
Yeah.
We had another shooting in North Carolina.
Yeah.
We had another school shooting. It isn't stopping.
No.
It isn't stopping.
It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they keep saying that the different people doing this have mental illnesses. Well, maybe we need to slam the brakes on that. Maybe we need to get some help and change the funding of funding illegals with medical care and start giving it to our soldiers who come home with all kinds of issues.
There's all sorts of problems.
Yeah. And we need to help our veterans. We need to help our veterans any way we possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for rerunning what you did with Noah Harris.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you haven't seen it, it's Education Matters.
Yep.
And Dr. Mark Stalling, I'd watched he and Noah years and years ago. But to sit there last night and watch and hear Noah's voice,
Yeah.
To be part of the Yellow Ribbon Brigade when we put up miles and miles and miles of yellow ribbons to honor Noah Harris, and now to see what molded him. And he said Gilmer County molded him.
Yeah.
He was raised by Gilmer County, not just by Rick and Lucy. He was raised by Gilmer County and had the standards and the values of Gilmer County. And I think that says a lot.
I was really surprised when I was going through all the old stuff and I saw that and I was like, oh, wow, I never really seen a interview with him before. And there's another one. That's not the only episode on that show.
I saw
of
the
him.
other one too.
The other one is months before he died, which I found really interesting when I was looking through all that stuff, and that will probably be coming out at some point on the ETC.
Yeah, and I asked Trace this morning if he could just add a ribbon to it and say, in memory of First Lieutenant Noah Harris, because at the time he was just a kid going to college. His life was normal. Everything was perfect. 9/11 hadn't happened, all the craziness of the world. And when we look back on 9/11, maybe that did start the craziness. And then we went into the pandemic with COVID, and everybody started sheltering in, which was totally crazy. And then kids got used to where they couldn't socialize, and it just put us on a whirlwind of craziness. And it's time we get back to Mayberry, and we get back to Mount Airy, North Carolina, and we get back to Talking Rock, Georgia, and we get back to Turtletown, Tennessee, and we bring back those tiny cities that make a difference in how your children are raised, how your children are taught, and how you honor and obey. You know, honor and obey your parents.
That's a hard word to understand.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I think in the marriage vows, isn't there something about obeying?
Yeah, let's not get into all
yeah,
that.
let's not get into that. Yeah, because I've got a sign that says, love is grand, divorce is $100 grand.
That sounds pretty accurate to me.
Yeah. So you know, we need to just slam on the brakes to letting things go crazy, and let's rein it in, and let's bring back a great America. We're going to take you back now to a little bit more of my visit with Betty Lynn. When I think about this, it was 14 years ago, and she passed away, I think, at 95. So she stayed around, she stayed active, she stayed part of that Mayberry, Mount Airy community, and thank goodness that she did. So let's go back to a little bit more of that interview.
Somewhere like Wilmington area, he filmed some of it there.
Yes.
But everything was done in Hollywood. You know.
Right.
People often say, wasn't it filmed here? They're shocked. They think I'm from here. They'll say, well, it's nice you came back.
Yeah,
and
you're
say,
like, I've
no.
never been here.
They think I lived here, that I'm from Mount Airy, but I'm not, no. But it's really, what I love about the town, too, they didn't level it and build on it. It's up and down, and it's beautiful, and the trees are so gorgeous. And when I first got here, I'd say to people, what kind of tree is that?
Yeah.
And they all grew up here. I don't know. Yeah. They don't know. And I really want to know, but I'll never find out, I guess. Then another thing happened. That I was in a taxi here, and the gentleman driving me had lived here all of his life. And I kept saying, oh, look at the sky, isn't it beautiful? Oh, the trees are wonderful. Aren't these trees beautiful? Finally, next time he had me in the cab, he said, you know, I've lived here all my life, and I guess I took it for granted.
Right.
But he said, after you talked about it so much, I began to look around, and it is beautiful.
It is beautiful.
It is.
Beautiful.
It's
the
a
beautiful
lovely
old
town.
homes here are just
aren't they gorgeous?
Yes.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah, there's so much to look at.
Yeah,
And there's
there
some
is.
new ones, too, that are beautiful. I mean, it's just amazing. And I guess there was a lot of activity when they had the textile things. And now, of course, they don't have that.
textile.
But who knows? Maybe something good will happen and come back. And,
Well, there's theater here. Do you ever think about doing theater next door?
oh, at the Playhouse?
Yes, yes.
Well, they've talked to me about it. I don't know. I'm not sure how well I be up to all that, but I did plays.
At
I-
85, you look amazing.
Oh, really?
I mean,
Well, thank
think
you.
about it. You're
Well, thank
85
you.
years
Yeah,
old.
oh,
You know.
I know. I'm
That is
shocked myself.
amazing.
I thought I never dreamed I'd live this long. It's kind of scary, you know. I think, oh boy, I don't know. But anyway,
85.
well, I'm grateful. If God wants me to still be around, fine. It's okay.
Can we
But-
talk a minute about
Sure.
Barney? Because
Oh,
to be
I
to
miss
be
him.
Thelma Lou, you had to have a chemistry with this man, and everybody says that he has a totally different personality in real life than
Oh,
we
quiet.
saw as the klutz
I
Barney.
know.
Okay, that he was very together, he was very with it, and on air he
Very
wasn't
quiet.
quite.
He
Yes.
was a quiet man.
Was he?
People all used to say to me, oh, he must have been a riot on the set. No.
No.
Very quiet.
Wow.
He'd say things a little bit now and then. And also, I think his mind was going. He was thinking of his one-man show. He'd now and then do a bit that he had thought out, and he'd show it to Andy, and I'd say, well, I want to show you this. And he'd get up and do it. But he was very quiet, very sweet. And he and his wife, thing is, I wasn't around him socially when I worked with him. I never really was very social with people I worked with, unless I never felt I was their buddy just because I'd worked with them, you know. So anyway, but when we started making personal appearances years after the show had been on, people would ask us to come to their town and be on stage and everything. So I was glad to do that. And I got to know some of the people that I'd never worked with that came on after I was off the show. Because when Don left to do movies, I was no longer on, you know. So there were a lot of people that came in later to be on that show that I had never known. So I got to know them, and that was great. But also I got closer to Don and his wife. And after we were back home in L.A., found out they lived not far from me at all. So we would now and then go out to dinner and have a good time, and Francie, his wife, and I would chatter and laugh, and he'd sit there and smile and say a few words now and then, you know. It was cute as could be, but the sweetest thing. And I really loved him a lot, and it broke my heart when he died. It really did. And he and Andy were like brothers. Don told me that they talked to each other every single day of their life. And Andy was with Don when he died, and it was really a heartbreak. And I really cared a lot about it. I know one time when we were in, let's see, where were we? Oh, at the, oh gosh, I can't, Upperland Hotel area. But it was outdoors the first time we were there. We used to be in the hotel later, but outside. And in the crowd out there, some man yelled to me and said, was there a little something going on between you and Don Knotts? I said, I was incensed at first. I said, no, he's a married man. I said, I should say not, blah, blah, blah. Well, finally, every now and then that would come up wherever we went. Finally, I said to Don, you know, I realize it's a great compliment. I said, you and I, as actors, were so good that people thought there was really something happening there. I said, I shouldn't get upset at all. But I did at first. I thought, oh, I should say not, you know, because,
No.
No.
Now, how many years were you actually on the program?
About 5, yeah.
Okay. Out of those 5 years, Opie was a little boy.
I know, precious.
And he has grown up to produce some of the finest things in Hollywood.
Isn't it wonderful?
Absolutely.
Well, he said when he was about 8 or 9 that that's what he wanted to do, and he did it. And of course, his daughter is fantastic. Have you seen her?
I have not.
Go see The Help.
Oh, I have seen The Help. Is that his daughter? Which one?
The mean little devil.
Oh, you're kidding.
That is
his
his
I didn't
daughter.
Know that. I love that movie.
Oh, yeah. She is great. I hope
Awesome.
she gets a nomination. She's so good in that.
See, I
She's
didn't
so
know that.
mean.
Yeah.
And she's
I
beautiful
love that
little girl.
movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I thought it was great, too. Anyway.
Now, what do you see you doing as far as this museum? We want to bring people into it. We want to encourage them to come and visit with you.
I hope they will.
Now, what, you're here once a month? Is that
Yeah,
about right?
I come the 3rd Friday of the month.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I count down on the calendar. 1, 2, 3. There I am.
There you go. And you chose to live here in it's kind of a semi-retirement home. Is that what you're in?
Well, it is a retirement area, and it's very nice. And I rent an apartment there, and I have a beautiful view of the trees, the gorgeous trees, and the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia in the background.
Wow.
It's pretty.
That's a bad backyard.
Oh
isn't it?
my! Well, that drew me too. I thought it looks so peaceful,
Yeah.
and I thought, well, I'll paint a little, and I have a guitar. I've tried to play a little bit on. I'm thinking all the things and I don't have time to do any of it. I'm so busy. I didn't dream I'd be. I really thought.
But isn't it awesome that you can continue to give back?
Well, I'm grateful that people even want to see me. I think it's wonderful, and I don't know many old ladies that are as lucky as I am. I am grateful, you bet. I am.
Now, out of the people, I was surprised because Aunt Bee was actually from New York.
Yes.
Was anybody in this cast and crew from North Carolina?
Andy.
The only one.
And also, now I think Jim Neighbors was from Alabama. George Lindsay was from Alabama. Let me think. Who else? And I think Opie, I shouldn't say that, Ron Howard's mother and dad.
Opie. He'll always be Opie.
His mother and father were from Oklahoma, and they were actors. They were wonderful people. He had a great home life, you know. And his brother Clint was that little boy with the peanut butter sandwich and go around, and say, he'd offer it to everybody. He was so cute.
I think the most amazing thing about the Andy Griffith Show was it brought, every single episode had a storyline that you could go, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand now.
Yeah.
No matter what it was, in the simplest way, to show you to do things right.
Right, well,
do things right.
and also Andy was really, I felt, showed what love was, because he would sacrifice for Don, try to save his neck all the time, and make it look like he was a hero and that he'd done all right. And poor Don would be all upset and everything, but and it's a great show. It really is. It is. And it was well written. These writers were great. And a lot of ministers will say to me, well, I use that, in my sermons, or I use it in Sunday school, or I do this and that. And they really, it has, and without forcing it. It's not like they're throwing it down your throat, but it does have good morals, and it's funny, and it's sweet. So I don't know what more you could want.
When
Good
it's
actors.
over, you go, oh yeah, I got it. I've got it. Now, let's talk a little bit about your relationship with him. In the television industry then in the 60s, there wasn't a lot of on-screen kissing. Certainly no sex or no violence, no cussing.
I told him we weren't rolling around in the sheets naked or anything like they do now.
But I can remember you
but
sitting
they
on
still
the
thought
sofa.
we were something happening,
Yeah, I can remember you sitting on the sofa next to him and him
Close
getting
in.
a little close.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a picture that a lady had sent me just last week, and she did, I guess, I don't know if it's pencil or pen, but she did a wonderful sketch. And it's of Don and I, and his expression was that look like he just, like the cat that swallowed the canary on his face, and I'm all cuddled up to him. And it's really a sweet picture that she did. And I don't know if there is a picture like that out there that she copied or what. I don't, because I remember the scene. I think that it might be from, and there was times when we were cozy with each other, kind of sweet and everything. So
I can remember nights when he would try to sneak a kiss and turn a light.
Okay, we're back. Let me tell you, I hope this has encouraged y'all to make today a Mayberry day. Get out, go to one of your local restaurants, go to one of the little joints that you remember that's been there since you were a kid. Go to a park that you remember going to as a kid with your parents. Go on a river walk down along the river. And I showed you a picture I posted yesterday fording the creek in an old pickup truck. And it's had just at almost 1,000 views. Ford a creek. If that doesn't make you go back to the old days and the old ways, there are so few places now that you can ford a creek. In Pickens County, I can give you about 3, but the easiest and fastest one to find is go to Antioch Church right off of 515, go up Antioch Church Road, go to the church, go right down to the cemetery, take a left, and you ford the creek right there. There are so few places that you can do that. We're losing so much of Americana, and we can bring it back. We can bring it back in our memories. We can photograph it. It's like the day that we went through that creek. We went through 3 or 4 times because I was filming it for you to use in a video. In a video. And that's what it was about. It was about saving what we love, saving what we remember. I remember my grandmother talking about going to church in a wagon. Now, none of us have anybody left that remembers that.
No.
Going to church in a wagon. And I remember Floyd Scott standing on this set singing about the wagon. I remember that. That's when ETC first started. When we first started, we were about a community that was very much like Mayberry. But when you think about it, this company has been here over 100 years. So when we look at the history of the telephone company here, my gosh, the next time we do a show, let's talk about where we went and where we're headed with telephones, television, cameras. You've seen just in your few years the difference in cameras.
Yeah, I've been through a lot of different types of cameras, but yeah it's changed a lot. And
it changes daily. I mean, what we buy today, in the next trade show, you'll say, oh, they've upgraded that one. Well, it's only 90 days old. Well, they've upgraded that. That's what America's doing today.
Well, they've already got the iPhone 17.
Isn't that crazy?
I know, right? And that was like 2006,
Mine's like a
I think,
13,
when they came out with the
14
first
something.
one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I still have 2 iPhones. I have a baby one, you know, in a box, just like it came. And somebody said, well, don't get rid of that. It's original. And I said, but it's not good. It's not a 5 gig. It's not a this. Why do all those gigs matter? Well, they do.
Some people still make flip phones.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You can find them in Walmart.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah.
And did you ever have a BlackBerry phone?
No, but when I was 9 or 10, I always got the phones that my brother and my mom had. So I had 2 flip phones that I could remember.
Yeah.
A white one and one that was similar to a BlackBerry. And then I didn't get my actual first phone until I was like 12 or 13.
Yeah. Yeah, see, 12 or 13 just seems so weird. At 12 or 13, our kids were still playing in the dirt again. You know, it's so generational. Yeah, he's younger. He's a whole lot younger. Speaking of younger, I'm so glad we had that interview with Betty Lynn because she passed away in Mount Airy, North Carolina at the age of 95. And what a joy that we got to spend time with her. We also, during that trip, we got a lot of pictures of all over Mount Airy and all over Mayberry. And you need to just make that trip. If you love Andrew Griffith, if you love the TV, give yourself a daycation, and it is a 5-hour trip from right here, but it's fun. It's fun, and make sure you look at the calendar, call the Snappy Lunch, make sure they're going to be open the day you go, and go try out one of those sandwiches, and then pick up the phone and call me and say, Cherie, it was amazing, or Cherie, I don't know about that, but tell me the truth. So I hope some of y'all will go to Mount Airy this weekend. I hope that you will go. Where are y'all doing ball games this weekend?
With this Friday, we're going to be going to Copper Basin. They're going to be playing Lookout Valley. Shout out to them. Copper Basin won against I think one of the Christian in Asheville, 61-41 last Friday or 2 Fridays ago.
So that was a pretty good game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to be playing Lookout Valley this Friday, and then after that, we'll be going to Gilmer for their homecoming against Lafayette for football. And then we'll be at Marble Festival Sunday.
Marble Festival Sunday. So if you see the guys, say, hey, we watch you, or we want to know what's going on with you, or we want to know what's happening at ETC. Tell me about the latest and the hottest. And if you're interested in technology and you want to learn, often getting a job here will take you from this level to this level, and then you can go on and, maybe go to college, maybe make it a career, maybe do something crazy on your own. There's so many people who are making a living on YouTube now.
They are, yep.
And that's one of the things you started a long time ago.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
He was playing on YouTube, and all of a sudden he was at work.
That was my playing in the dirt.
That's
for
right.
Cherie.
That's right. Well, thank you for joining us today. Paul Kiker is going to be with us on Thursday, and tomorrow we're going to have some kids that I was really impressed with. Very, very smart kids from Gilmer County will be with us tomorrow. So y'all hang around. Don't forget, from here we go to YouTube, live on Facebook, and we come to you any way you want to find us. We're easy to find. Subscribe to YouTube and go back to, how many programs have you downloaded now?
Of North Georgia Now, it's over 100 at this point, I think. It's a lot.
Well, I think I looked the other day, and there are over 900 videos on there.
Well, there's 500 of your episodes of the show on there.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So if you missed a program, if you have questions about recipes, we put a lot of the recipes on there, and we are actually going to work on doing a recipe that you can just go to, click on, and you can get some of the recipes, because that's his next project. So always a project in the works. We'll see you again where rivers, mountains, and good friends meet.